Hey guys, Econ here. Just quickly wanted to record the Abbasid 3TC Castle Rush build order. So I want to very quickly explain a couple of the tricks that you can use to optimize this. So first, you want 7 on the mill, on the berries, and then you send people to gold. Now here, my gold is in the back, and I need to build my House of Wisdom somewhere. It's going to be a little bit difficult to connect these buildings, but that's okay. What you don't want to do is you don't want to build your House of Wisdom like here and block the path of your gold workers. What you want to do is you want to build it last. So what you can do is you can shift click this like that and have the blueprint, but if you start building it, it blocks the path. So what you can do, well, I screwed it up, but okay. What you can do is you can cancel the build before it goes through. At least this way only one worker will have to walk around. That's not too bad. But ideally you'd like to not be blocked by your House of Wisdom. And then after that, let's see, I'm gonna move this sheep so it's a little bit closer. I'm gonna chop this tree, and then we're gonna go onto wood on the wood line with a lumber camp. If you're going 2 TC, you could just use the straggler trees, but since we're going 3 TC, it's more efficient to just get the lumber camp, as this isn't enough wood, obviously, for 2 TCs. So here, I just rallied to the sheep, so I have a tad of extra food, but it doesn't really matter. You can start rallying to this already. Check this. Okay, perfect, like that. Okay, then you pull these, and I like to hotkey through these workers immediately, so I can pull them off. You want to leave 4 on berries. You want to go up to 7 on this straggler. You want 7. Then you want to go to stone. Now, what order you do this doesn't really matter, but you need to build a lumber camp and you need to build a mining camp. So, might as well just build the lumber camp first. Sorry, the mining camp first. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of just do both at the same time. There. Maybe have this one like that. Ideally, you don't want to build the lumber camp with all the workers. It's actually less efficient. Maybe just warp these workers here a little bit. So it's better to start gathering the wood. Maybe build it with 2 workers so that it finishes. And around this time, you'll have just enough gold, so 3750, there we go, boom, and then send those to stone. You need to make a house at some point. It doesn't really matter when you get it. I like to use a stone worker. Just so long as you're connecting your buildings, I think it's fine. It's better to use a stone worker than it is to use a wood worker, though. Then we want to go up to 8 on stone. And we're going to leave it at 8. Okay, we want to get this in, we want to get that in. Notice that I actually have enough food. I like to hotkey my workers on stone. Okay, and then after I have that, I want to go up to about, I think it's 10 total on wood, 10 or 11, and you see what I'll do. So the second you have 250 stone, you don't want to force drop off because that's a little inefficient, but when you just see that you have enough for the first TC, you take one of your woodworkers and you start building it on your wood. Here, I could probably start building it on the stone, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so yeah, I'm a little late, but let's just say I build it here, right? Now, obviously, it's not going to finish building with just one worker. That's not the idea. But the idea is that you still need to keep gathering wood and stone in order to get your next TC out, right? So if you start building this with a few, you're actually losing work efficiency. Obviously, if you're building with one worker, it's the maximum build efficiency. So while we're waiting for our wood to come in, we just build it with one. And then obviously we're going to put these on here to finish it. So the stone, you can go down to 710, but like, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? So just a little bit below 710 is good. You send these to gold, obviously, and you're going to build a TC on the gold. We need 280 wood. Okay, perfect. Boom, we can build this. And then what we can do is we can pull these and just do that. Like that. Oops, I wasn't making workers, but it's okay. It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I have 9 workers here. It can be 8. It's fine. But these are going to rally onto the sheep afterwards. And here you want to make 1 extra house. So if you finish these buildings, you're at 9. So you want your golden age to pop the second your TCs finish. There we go. Now, obviously, this is pure greed. You're just rushing castle with no units. So it's if you think you're going to be attacked, or if you think you need to make production buildings, then obviously you don't put all of these on food. You put them on wood. See there, this TC finished, and therefore we got golden age. And from here, if you're just in a team game, especially on something like Rocky River or something, and you don't expect to be attacked, and you're playing Abbasid and your job is to, you know, boom and make units, then this is probably the build, right? Your allies should be defending you while you do this. Now, I like to leave 2 on wood just because. Obviously, you can pull these off and get your castle up a little bit faster, but I don't like to move them around too much. I don't think it's very efficient. Now, obviously, from here, it depends what units you're going. If you're going camel archers, which is probably typical, you need a lot of food. So you can probably stop at like 24, 26, 28 food workers. But just generally, let's say 24-ish. Right, and then once we have 24, we can start rallying to wood, because we're going to need a lot of wood. Right, maybe we'll just put 1 more, then we've got 24. Okay. Now, these berry workers are going to run out. I like to shift queue them back so that they don't idle. I also like to try and spread where my workers go on the resources. Small other things you can do is you can move some sheep here if you want, or to the close side of the TC, obviously. Same thing here. This, you know, when this TC rallies to food, you might want to put them here, so it's the shortest distance, but, you know, these are minor optimizations, right? It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then we are about to age up. I mean, you can force drop-off if you really care, but I don't think it really matters, so it doesn't really matter. A couple seconds here. Okay, so 836, 837. Yeah, so that's about right. I think so long as you get it below 845, it's pretty good. And then from here, obviously, it really depends what you want to do. Just to show you what it looks like a little bit going into castle. I like to rally back onto gold. If that's too difficult for you, because you think you're going to forget and you're going to over-rally, then just pull them from wood and go up to 12. Start getting your upgrades in. So you're going to need them anyway. Right, I'll just make 3 stables. It doesn't really matter what, right? But let's just say I'm making stables. Now, obviously, you want to get the econ upgrades for the resources that have the most workers. Right now, it's food. But I prioritized wheelbarrow because it affects all resources. And then after that, I'll get horticulture, of course. Some houses. It's fine to overqueue workers. They don't cost very much, and what you don't want is to be idle on your TCs like I was earlier. Okay. And the idea is from here, for the most part, just rally everything to wood. You can start rallying to, you know, berries or deer or whatever if you have them close, but the strength of Abbasid is you don't have to move out very much. Obviously, if you're safe, you should take the outside resources, but for the most part, it's it opens yourself up to raiding, and it's not very good. So, okay, so we got that in. Let's say I start making knights, just because. Right, knights are good. If you're making knights, you probably want 12 to 16 on the gold. Let's say I go up to 16 like that. And already I'm starting to float wood, right? And I'm like, oh, that's too much wood. Well, that's why Abbasid is OP in team games. You can already start doing a farm transition, and it's totally fine. And it basically costs you nothing. You can press F2 to open up all your things and scroll through and see what econ upgrades you're missing. At least get all the level 1 upgrades in. If you lack the gold, just make camel riders. They're just good. Okay, these finished here, so why don't I just do something like that. Okay, and just start making units. Try to replace your lumber camps. Here, if you can, try and get farming upgrade relatively quickly. You don't want to get it too fast, obviously, because you don't have that many farms up immediately. But something like that. Maybe add in another stable. Have to overmake houses. Don't hesitate to overmake houses. You don't want to get housed. Being housed is just so unbelievably inefficient. It's hard to express how much you're losing every time you get housed. It's way better to overmake houses than it is to get housed. That's just always true. I always watch pros getting housed, and it kills me inside because they're losing so many resources every time they get housed. It's not just the workers that you're. It's not just the military units that are being blocked, it's the fact that you're not making workers during that time, and that really hurts your recon. It's like losing a worker. Not sure what this TC is doing. But yeah, if you're in doubt, just rally all TCs to wood, right? And then, just like you would play English, you just pull some off and you make some farms, right? Like that. Boom. And just spam units, right? I mean, Abbasid's econ is OP. It's the strongest econ in the game once it's going. So it's whatever. So one thing I like to do is that if I have a static number of workers on a resource like I do on gold here, I'm not rallying to gold, right? I can already shift click them to the next one. The problem is if I do that, then I have to do this. I don't like to build the yeah, there we go, see like that. I don't like to build the mining camp with all the workers. It's quite inefficient, actually. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you just get in the habit of doing what I did. So I shift-clicked all the workers to the gold first, and then I selected 2 to build the mining camp, so that way only the minimum number of workers are building the mining camp, but these are all going to start gathering, right? Right, I mean, this is a decent amount of extra resources that you're getting here, if you think about it, right? Now, obviously, if they all build the mining camp, it's going to build basically instantly, but if you do the math on it, it's actually quite a bit less efficient. Okay, so now, at this kind of point, you're going to be just absolutely floating wood. You just have too many resources, you can't spend it on everything. You just build whatever you want, and just make sure you get all your upgrades in. Make sure you have houses. Right, make sure that have all your things in. Now, obviously, in a real game, you'll be sending your units across the map and harassing and whatnot, but so long as you can get the age up in by 8:45 or so, you're basically set up for the rest of the game. You have so many workers and you have so much wood left over that you can just, you know, aggressively wall wherever you want, right? You know, I can just wall like this, that, whatever. I can just move my units in because it doesn't matter. Right, even if I wasn't playing against easy AI, I would have way more units. And then, I mean, good rule of thumb is probably to go up to about 130 workers, 120 if you are less confident. This is, of course, talking about team games. Right, and you ideally would like to... I mean, these workers, right, I'm like trying to send them to berries, but it's just not necessary. Just make farms. Just make farms. Just easier. It's safer. Speaking of which, I should get this upgrade. But yeah, from here, it's just whatever, right? You're just constantly making units, and you're gonna hit max econ that you want pretty quickly. And it's very easy to balance your econ, right? If you think like right now, oh, I have no gold, well then just take some woodworkers and send them gold. Very, very easy to understand save. Let's kill off the AI here. Now here, right, I send all these workers to gold. Well, what I should do is I should take them, do this, and then maybe take 2 and build them. Mining camp like that, right? You can even over-make houses a little bit. It helps to get your golden age up, and they cost basically nothing, right? So, and get a market maybe to rebalance the resources as the AI dies, and there you go. So yeah, that's how to do the build. There are a couple minor optimizations, but so long as you can get it down to 845. Or 9 minutes, sub 9 minutes if you're a newer player, then that's totally fine. And then just from there, all you have to do is just keep making units. Just don't stop making units. If the situation is that you feel like it's better to go imp, then you can, right? Immediately, basically, off of going castle. If that's the case, I would suggest going culture wing to castle. Of course, rather than going military wing, because you're not really getting much from going military wing. I mean, that's always an option as well. If you prefer, you can just go culture wing to castle, even if you're not going to fast imp. It allows you to get all your upgrades in way cheaper, so it saves you a lot of gold and whatnot. So I mean, it's definitely an option, but the thing is, especially for Abbasid and team games, you should probably be running a more cav-heavy comp rather than infantry-heavy comp, because especially in team games, the infantry comps are too immobile. If for some reason you have, I don't know, something like double French on your team and you really want someone on your team to go archers, then I guess you can go archers, although it's not ideal. It's kind of not the point of playing Abbasid, right? You should really be going camel archer. I mean, I guess you can just go camel archer with double French as well. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so just basically try and get the first 9 or so minutes down, and then after that, the econ will carry you. You can make tons of mistakes and, put your resources in the wrong place or whatever, and it doesn't matter. When the game ended, I had 120 workers, right? I'm basically finished the worker production. Maybe I'd go up to 130, but 120 is fine. And then, your econ is done at 17 or 18 minutes. And then from there, you just do whatever you want. You just kill them with units, or just go imp, or do whatever. It's a very, very easy civ to play in team games if you can get past the first 10 minutes. Now, obviously, this doesn't work very well if you're, especially in 2v2s, for example, right? It puts way too much onus on your ally to hold you for that long. So if you're, first of all, I wouldn't play Abbasid in 2v2s unless it was on specific maps. That just goes without saying, I think. But If for some reason you really like playing Abbasid, or if you're at a lower elo where the team comp doesn't really matter, then I wouldn't suggest doing this build because it's a little too greedy. In 2v2s, just go 2 TC. It's fine. You basically do the same thing, except you cut the straggler trees instead of building the lumber camp, and you go 1 TC, 1 extra TC only, and then you probably start making units immediately. You don't rush castle. You just make units. Obviously, the units you make depends on what your ally is. If say your ally is French, then you should be making archers, and your ally should just be making knights. Obviously, tell your ally what you're doing. But in a 3v3 or 4v4, your job as Abbasid is to boom. You're not supposed to make units at the beginning, and your ally's job is to cover you if for some reason they come and all in you. But even if they all in you and you lose 1 TC, it doesn't matter, you're still ahead, because they have to invest so much in order to kill one of your TCs. And it's not like you can't just put the TC up again, right? All you have to do is survive the initial push, try not to lose too many workers. If you really need to cancel your castle age up, if you think that they're really all in, then that's fine. You can just make units, right? Just make a complementary unit to what your allies are making to hold. And then if you hold, you've basically won the game. Because if they've invested all 3 people and they've killed their own econ in order to try and kill Abbasid, Abbasid is already ahead, of course, just baseline. So, you can use defender's advantage and garrisoning and whatnot to hold, and then you just win from there. You can just add in the TC that you lost, or you can just go castle and start spamming knights and camel riders at them or whatever, and then you just overwhelm them. It's not a big deal. Now, the problem is when one of your allies gets attacked, and you have to go help them. Even in that kind of situation, you can kind of semi-sack your ally, I feel like. Your ally has to suck it up, but you can sit and boom, like you would like in this build, and just kind of ignore the fact that you're getting pushed, and then mass a lot of units, and then start helping your ally maybe at the 12-minute mark. You don't want to send your initial units immediately, because you're just going to be trickling like three knights at a time. That's probably not going to help very much. Maybe you want to wait until you have 12 to 15 units, and then you can actually start putting real pressure and stopping the push and whatnot. And in the meantime, your allies should just run their workers if they can, and maybe build in the back of your base or something, right? And you can cover for them. But if that's the case, again, they spent all of their time and their resources. They're probably still all age 2, and they're full on pushing one of your allies to kill them. Well, then obviously your other ally has been making units or has been booming, and you've been booming, so you can actually just 2v3 from there pretty easily. It looks bad for the first 15-ish minutes, but then Abbasid's Econ, fully kicks in and is complete at around, well before 20 minutes. Most other civs are not even going to be close to that. So you can just 1v3 at that point. And that's why Abbasid is so OP in team games, right? It's just, it's very difficult to push. It's basically impossible to punish because of the map distance. The units that you can make are very good. Obviously, Cav civs are king in 3v3s, 4v4s, and all camel units are therefore very good. Yeah, it's just OP. Even after the nerfs, it's obviously OP. It's probably the best team game civ, and yeah, it's not very fun to play against, so just play it. Anyway, yeah, so thanks for watching. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful, and let me know if you have any comments or suggestions, and until next time, peace.